I hope that we can make your shield installation process something you can stand to do. It's not that hard. I'm going to start with a new stick. In case you were a new person this year, you get one that's just blank. And we put a sticker on that normally, right below where the hand hold point comes. So we flip the little rope over and then put the sticker underneath that. Kind of line it up so it's lined up straight, and there that is. Then we just fold that around, and that gives us a starting point for our shields. Okay? Now, if you come in and we do the shields for you, this is the normal operation we have. We have the workmate bench with a little slot in it that the stick can fit into so it doesn't roll away from you. And it gives you a nice secure surface to pound on and keep the thing from bending the nails when you put them in. If you got your shields from us earlier, if you stopped by and picked them up, they're rounded, they're made to fit on the stick pretty much. They're a little bit larger than they're bent a little bit larger than the stick is, but they're close enough. Now, if you are lucky enough to get it by mail, you get this little flat thing. And the flat thing is not easy to put on the stick. What I would recommend, and I'll show you how in a minute to do it better, but we use the stick to start bending it with your hands. You can't really use a tool on it. And then once you get it bent there, we'll bend it a little more, and I'll show you how to do that so it'll actually fit on the stick. Okay, so the basic tools you need, if you do it when you don't have any problems, you need a small hammer. A big one's a bit of an overkill. You can use it, but it's kind of hard to get the precise nailing that you need to keep from bending them with that. We get the shields are delivered like this with the nails taped in the back. Just take them off, and then I get the shield ready to go. I got 3 nails, which is all you should need. If you need more than 3, we can get you some later, or you can get them at a hardware store too. But basically, you put the shield on, align it so that it's straight with whatever else is there. I try to keep them underneath the sticker there. And then as you just add on the shield, you just keep going down with them and add them on so that they point straight ahead as you go. So you may have a lot more shields on your stick. But to start with, you want to get that first shield or wherever you're putting it lined up. And the important thing is the bottom hole goes first. That keeps them straight and lined up. You just keep all the bottom holes aligned. And once you get a nail in on that, it's possible to twist this a little to straighten it up afterwards. So I'm going to start with this and get the bottom hole aligned. Now I use a drill bit. A lot of our installers here use the nails. If you use a drill bit, I put a little flag on that, and that shows me where the nail needs to be drilled, how deep. I don't drill it as deep as the whole nail. See, I get it so you can see it. The flag stops about there, so that's the deepest I would ever drill. If I have a real hard stick, I drill it deep. If I have a soft stick, which you probably will have one or the other, I only go about a halfway down and don't go all the way to the flag. Otherwise, if you drill it too deep, the nails will fall back out. So we don't want that happening. So, okay, here we go. We'll start the process. And since I am using a drill like this, I'm using a little electric screwdriver actually to do this. It's a slow speed drill. And it gives me the ability to do a lot of these for people and not wear my wrist out. So I'm not going to go that deep with this, just a little bit down. And then you can just stick the nail in the hole, which makes it real easy to start. You don't want to be nailing it straight in without drilling it first, because the nail, first of all, you're going to have a real hard time lining things up. Second of all, you're going to be starting into the wood, and when you get the nail started a little bit, it's got nowhere to go, so it wants to bend. So this way, we're down, we're ready to go, and just tap it straight in. It's important that the nails be oriented so that you're nailing straight down on them and not sideways. You don't want to be nailing them like this because the stick's going to pop up. So you want the stick pointing straight up. And then I go over here and try to straighten up one of the edges. And then I drill a little hole into the edge again, just like I did the first one. And again, this is a pretty soft stick, so I'm not drilling very deep on it. And I stick the nail in, and then after it's in, turn it so it's pointing straight up and knock it in. And then the same thing on the other side. Now here you've got to squeeze the shield down because it's bent a little less than the stick. So you squeeze it down and drill it. And then you can stick that last nail in, push it down in a little, and then just knock it in. So that is the process. Now, that's if all goes well. If it doesn't, we have the emergency repair kit here. We have an old Boy Scout knife from back in the 60s, 50s, about that time. That works real good. A knife like this, you can get under the edge and pry it to get the nail up just a little bit. Now I left this a little loose because I'm cheating on it. So I pry it up a little bit, and then a pair of diagonal cutters, or you can use some pliers, or you can use a screwdriver or something. But that you can get under here and just pop that nail right out. Sort of. There it comes. It's in better than I thought. There. So that, if you bend a nail, before it goes all the way in, it's a lot easier to get it out. Now that one was if I had a shield on that I wanted to move, you can still get in there and take a shield off and put another one on in its place. So that is the basic process for putting them on. Now what I'm going to do is show you, once I got it on there, we're all done with that. Now this is the, like I said, the official working situation that we have. You won't have this, most likely. If you do, if you got a workbench and you can set this so it blocks it up against something, then you're in great shape. Now the other way we do it, and I'm going to stop for just a moment to move over and get reorganized. We're going to just use a tabletop, or you use a countertop or anything, and this is what I do when I put them on at home. So I'm back at home now doing it instead of in the nature realm doing it, as far as the way it's handled. What I'm sitting at right here is a fairly solid table with a laminate top on it. Kitchen counter works very well for the same thing. What we do recommend is you put something on the countertop if you're doing it on a countertop, or something that matters, to protect it a little. And that also gives, that also gives you a little bit of cushioning to make your holding the stick in the position as fast or as well as possible, so it doesn't try to roll away on you. Now, I've got a towel we're using here. If I'm at home and I have a crummy countertop, I usually just use the crummy countertop, but this is the same idea we had before. So starting over here, like we did on the first one, I'm just going to put the sticker on, and I'm going to do something else a little different this time. Remember last time I mentioned you might get a flat shield instead of a curved shield. This makes it a lot more interesting. If you've got a lot of flat shields, it makes it a whole lot more interesting. So I'm going to take that shield, and it doesn't matter where I do it on the stick at this point. I'm just going to hold it as straight as I can on the stick and push it down, and it's hard to do. Okay, so now I got a little bit of a bend in it. Now, at this point, I need to make it tighter than the stick is so that it will actually conform to the stick when we put it on. So what I've got, and I would recommend you look in your house for a water pipe that's a little smaller diameter than the stick. This is a socket set, just plain old thing. Let's see, this particular one is a 9/16. If it works well, we'll recommend that size for you. So what I'm going to do is just take and continue pushing the shield down around that as best I can. And it's hard to do. All right, now, we have a really handy tool we use here, but you won't have that, so I don't want to make it look like you should. I'm just going to make that as tight as I can on here. These are stiff shields this year. Okay, now, that is not quite where I want it, but I think I can make it work. You can see it's not really bending right around the stick. It's got some play to it. So I prefer these corners be down a little lower. Let's see if I can get them any more that way. You could maybe use a hammer on the edge, but you got to be very careful, because if you do that, you're going to end up with a crease in the middle, and it won't be, nicely bent. So you want to bend it around something as best you can. So, okay, I got that to a reasonable starting point. Now I'm going to do the same thing again with the drill. I did mention earlier, and I might as well show you now, if you want to, you can take one of the nails, but this means you have to have an extra one, or any other nail you've got is the same size. Cut the tip off so it's just straight. And then you can chuck that into a drill, a regular drill, so it sticks out just a little bit. you have to have enough to hold it in the drill. So it's sticking out that far, it's not going to be as deep as the nail. And these make pretty good little drills. So that's what a lot of the guys here use, and it works very well. I like the drill bit itself because it's a little smoother operation, and you can adjust the depth to the wood a lot easier than you could with just the little nail itself. So that's what that's all about. I'm going to continue using just the regular drill bit, and again we line it up, get that bottom hole straight on there where it goes, drill it in, and pick up a nail, stick it in the hole, and knock it in. Okay, and this is working quite well. I've got enough support here. The table's not moving, the towel's holding the stick from turning, so we're doing pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to try to nail in the side over here. Again, we hold it so you're kind of drilling straight down. Get that nail in there. Okay, and we'll knock that in. This is going to pull that shield up tight to the stick. Almost bent it. This is a harder stick than the first one I used, and it's working very well though. Now I'll hold this shield down again as best I can while I drill it. And again, I try to drill perpendicular to the stick. And the nail again, which will pull it around. And get it started. And then I straighten that up, so I'm pounding straight down again. And we're on. That worked pretty well. It's not quite as good as I would like. You see a little flaring here, but it's plenty good enough. It's not going to irritate your hand or anything. So that is the basic process. Now, if you have problems and need to have something fixed, we'll be very happy at our next installation session, which, who knows, we're hoping it's next year, probably will be, but we don't have anything planned for the rest of this season, so that's why we're doing this video. But bring any of your disasters in if you have any, and we will correct them and put them on properly for you, and even rebend the shields if they're not bent quite enough. So don't despair, there is hope, and we will be glad to help you out when you can come back, and we'll see you all again.